Tony Khan is what happens when a billionaire's kid discovers Fire Pro Wrestling and thinks, what if I could make this real? With zero adult supervision? Jim Cornette took one look at AEW and decided this wasn't wrestling. It was cosplay with a trust fund. And Tony? Tony became Cornette's favorite chew toy, whether he liked it or not. To Cornette, Khan isn't just a bad booker. He's the antichrist of wrestling tradition. A sugar-high nerd who pays guys six figures to do finger guns and choreograph matches like community theater sword fights. And the worst part? He thinks he's good at it. This ain't a disagreement. This is a culture war, and Tony Khan stepped onto Jim Cornette's lawn wearing a fanny pack and hugging wrestlers who think selling is optional. Grab some popcorn. Today we dive into the multi-million-dollar punching bag that is Tony fucking Khan. Jim Cornette didn't start hating Tony Khan. He started by hoping he'd be the one billionaire who wasn't a complete jackass. A wrestling fan with money? Great. A guy who actually liked old school? Promising. A guy who cited Mid-South? Jim was cautiously optimistic. And then, the first AEW press conference happened. Kenny Omega came out like a kid who drank paint water. The Young Bucks superkicked a fake journalist. Chris Jericho mumbled through a promo like he was still digesting dinner. And Tony? Tony stood there beaming like he'd just invented wrestling, while standing next to a bunch of guys Cornette thought were single-handedly killing it. That's when Jim Cornette's eyebrows hit orbit and never came back down. The moment he realized Tony Khan had handed the creative keys to cosplayers and called it a revolution, the love died. The rage was born. And Cornette hasn't taken his boot off Tony's neck since. Look, wrestling's full of drama, but most of it's fluff. Soap opera crap designed to make you care about fake fights. But then there's real hatred. The kind where you don't just want to punch the guy, you want to punch him in a different dimension. That's what Jim Cornette lives for. This series isn't about kayfabe. It's about actual shoot heat, the backstage grudges so toxic they could poison a well. Each episode tears down one enemy at a time. Because if you try roasting 5 at once, you sound like a carnival barker with no punchlines. Today's victim, Tony Khan, wrestling's richest punching bag, and the billionaire who gave Cornette a front row seat to a slow-motion train wreck disguised as a wrestling company. Buckle up. This is going to get ugly. Jim Cornette sees AEW's wrestling like a sad dad watching his kid do gymnastics on the roof. It's not wrestling, it's flippy shit. You know, the kind of crap where guys spend half their matches launching themselves off ladders and walls like human lawn darts, hoping somebody, anybody, remembers to pretend they got hit. Tony Khan bankrolls this circus like a kid who found daddy's credit card and bought every shiny toy in the catalog. But here's the thing. You can pay for all the backflips and drop kicks in the world, but you can't buy respect. Or a clue? Cornette's whole point is simple. If it doesn't look like someone just got punched in the face, it's worthless. And AEW's top stars? They're less concerned with selling pain than they are with how many likes their Instagram got. They've turned wrestling into a TikTok dance-off with elbow drops. Cornette once said, watching AEW is like watching a clown car crash in slow motion. It's painful. You want to look away, but you just can't. And Tony? To Cornette, he's the clueless rich kid who thinks throwing money at YouTube stunts is the same thing as booking a wrestling show. And this isn't a difference in taste. This is a funeral. Cornette's convinced Tony Khan's got his finger on the button, and he's giggling while detonating wrestling's corpse. Tony Khan runs AEW like a billionaire with ADHD who walked into wrestling and said, I can do this better. Spoiler, he can't. Cornette sees AEW's Backstage like a daycare for wrestlers who missed the memo about respect and hard work. It's all smiles, fist bumps, and group hugs, a culture so soft it makes a marshmallow look like a steel trap. This guy's got money coming out his ears, but zero clue about how wrestling works backstage. No hierarchy, no discipline, just an endless supply of, hey boss, look at me. Moments from wrestlers who treat AEW like a playground for their egos. Cornette's disgust is personal. He's spent decades in the trenches, earning respect through sweat, blood, and long nights on the road. And now, here's Tony Khan handing out six-figure checks like candy to kids who couldn't sell a punch if their life depended on it. Tony's corporate kingdom is a soft hell where wrestling tradition goes to die, replaced by Instagram storylines and sponsored merch. Cornette calls it a wrestling-themed theme park, a place where kayfabe is dead and everyone's too busy chasing clicks to care about the business. To Jim, Tony Khan is the worst kind of enemy. The clueless rich kid who thinks money can replace passion and that tweeting backstage drama is the same thing as booking a wrestling show. Spoiler, it's not. There wasn't one big incident that made Cornette snap on Tony Khan. It was every single goddamn week. Every time Tony Khan booked another backyard goofball to do a double jump moonsault onto a guy who wasn't even looking at him, Cornette lost another piece of his soul. This wasn't just bad wrestling. This was a war crime against logic. And Tony? Tony just stood there smiling like a fanboy who accidentally bought a wrestling company and never read the instructions. Cornette didn't just criticize AEW, he declared war on it, openly, loudly, weakly. He said Tony Khan shouldn't be running a wrestling company. He should be running a fucking daycare for emotionally unstable gymnasts. And when AEW's army of Twitter geeks came at him, Jim doubled down, because the more they defended Tony's vision, the clearer it was. These weren't wrestling fans. These were cosplay cultists defending their money-marked messiah. It's not that Tony's booking is bad, it's that it's non-existent. Matches booked on Twitter, angles dropped midweek, tag rules, optional, logic, missing. And every time Cornette pointed it out, Tony just kept smiling like a deer on ecstasy. Cornette once said, if Tony Khan took a shit in the middle of the ring, his roster would run in to take bumps on it. That's the level of disgust, not disappointment, not disagreement, pure white-hot, aneurysm-grade hatred. Because to Cornette, Tony isn't just bad at this. He is the single biggest threat to everything wrestling is supposed to be. And worst of all, he actually thinks he's doing it right. Tony Khan is what happens when a rich kid grows up thinking every fart he lets out is a TED Talk. Nobody told him no. Not his dad, not his roster, not the swarm of terminally online AEW fans who would defend him if he booked a ladder match between two houseplants. And now, because nobody had the balls to slap the Funko Pop out of his hand, he's running a major wrestling company with the same energy as a Reddit thread called How Would You Book Goldberg vs. Pikachu? Jim Cornette doesn't hate Tony Khan because he's rich. He hates him because he's rich and stupid. And worse, ambitiously stupid. The kind of guy who thinks booking a 17-minute trios match with zero psychology and a 12-man dive train is revolutionary. It's not. It's circus porn with a pyro budget. Tony walks around like wrestling's Willy Wonka, handing out TV time like golden tickets to every dork with a Twitch stream and a pair of kick pads. Cornette's been in this business long enough to spot a money mark, and Tony isn't just a money mark. He's the goddamn emperor of them. Sitting on a throne made of Meltzer's star ratings, crowned with a super dragon mask. Indie flunkies do gymnastics routines that draw flies. And the worst part? This shit's working. He's getting TV deals, toy lines, internet clout. Cornette's not just watching wrestling die. He's watching it get buried in confetti by a dude who books matches like he's late for band practice. To Cornette, Tony Khan is the Antichrist of the business. Not because he's evil, but because he's harmless. Harmless to everyone, except the art form he's strangling to death with a smile on his face. The future of wrestling, folks. Brought to you by a man who looks like he smells like Funyuns and writes pay-per-views like a 12-year-old writing Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction during a seizure. At the end of the day, Jim Cornette doesn't hate Tony Khan because he's evil. He hates him because he's so damn nice while ruining everything. Tony walks around like a kid who won a contest to run a wrestling company for a week, but no one ever told him the week ended 3 years ago. He's a billionaire surrounded by yes men, blowing money on guys who think selling a punch is optional. And no matter how bad the booking gets, Tony just grins like he's watching fireworks instead of his own product burn in real time. Cornette doesn't scream into a mic every week because he wants attention. He screams because wrestling used to mean something, and now it means hashtags, flippy shit, and one rich nerd's midlife fantasy. Thanks, Tony. Like, subscribe and ring the bell, or take a bump through it. If you like this verbal hate crime, click like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Or don't. Just know Jim Cornette's probably somewhere yelling about Tony Khan right now anyway. Thanks for watching.